Really amazed how that top sits. Welcome back, guys. What a week it's been. That video I made last week ended up on the Junk Rig Association website and it received some scrutiny, which I expected, and people who have two-sail split junk rigs were probably happier about the video than people with a contiguous sail, a single sail, and there's some documents out there that verify, in my mind, the results I found, and that two sails have a beneficial effect working together, bigger than if the two sails were alone. So it's pretty well known, I think, in the Bermudan sailing world that two sail boats go better to windward than a single sail boat, and that's why this rig up behind me is a single sail on the wind, although it's got the potential to be very low drag and probably point very high because of how the luff is set up and everything. So yeah, so that was interesting. And what else did I do? I got the mast more vertical. That was quite a performance, and a little bit more to go with a few modifications down around the bottom, which I'd want to do even if I persisted with this rig. And I went to see Paul Thompson, a friend of mine who builds junk rig sails up in the Bay of Islands, and we had a great chat about what's possible. But I've pretty much decided in the meantime, because of how the sails looked, and you'll see that in the video, they're looking more promising than I first thought, especially when you put those bamboo sprits on, and especially when you don't roll the sail fully out. It actually holds its shape a whole lot better around the top, so that's promising. And it's so easy to roll in and out that it's really, I just want to get in the water and try it. So in this video you'll also see that I do some aluminium casting for the top bearing at the top of the mast. It needs a swivel bearing up there if I'm going to put a little forestay on it, and I think it needs a forestay like a lot of cat boats with a mast right up in the bow. You see they have a forestay. Wow, that looks promising even without the modifications. I've just got the sail up to on those temporary sprits there to see what would work and not work. I just pulled down on those sheets and it's not beautiful, but the sail popped out. How about that, guys? Makes me want to keep that square top. And it's not getting a fair go yet really, because I haven't got all the stiff battens in. I've only got it in the top section. There's a good little breeze coming through now. The shape of the sail right now, when it's really light, I mean the aft batten's not in, so that wouldn't hook over so much, but it's actually a great shape. That's the thing. This is light winds, but in say over 10 knots I'd be wanting to put a bit of a roll in that sail anyway. This is my polystyrene foam cutter I made in a previous video when I was making the mast bearings, and this is what I'm going to attempt to cut out today as a foam pattern for my casting. It's called the lost foam casting method. You can see in there I might have already messed this one up. Really the hardest part. Yeah, I'm going to have to do this one again, you can see there. Well, it's another day and another mission. My mission today is to make these, fit these battens. They're not really battens, they're garden stakes really. But they use the same stuff. It's 12mm fiberglass round rod, and I'm gonna install them in the sail and see if that holds up the square top better than has been happening, although it's been a little bit promising what's been happening. but these should do the job. And they're not light. It's probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 kilos there, so it all adds up. I've got to get the old battens out of the sail. Not a bad little reefed position there actually. Let's see how easy she rolls out today. Well, that wasn't too bad. You can see why I want to put a forestay on there, because the sail's hitting the deck. I wanted to allow for the fact that the mast could be vertical, but yeah, because of how the sheaves meet, it's only getting about 5 degrees rake and not vertical. Wow, that's promising. If you look at the sail, it's standing up. Oh well, let's get into making these battens. You can see the problem is right there. That's where the 8mm batten is before it joins the 12mm up there. It's looking promising that the 12mm battens can hold the sail up. I made them a bit of a neat fit. Didn't quite go through the door. I need at least 12 joiners like these guys. Unfortunately, this 13mm rod doesn't quite fit inside here, so I've got to put a 13mm drill in, and then I've got to do a slight scrape of it to make these fit. That's why these were such a neat fit, and I'll be using this material, which I was using at the top of the batten for my first trial. Slightly stiffer than the fiberglass. This is not the area that's the problem anymore. It's the middle of the sail where these will now take their place. I don't have a boring bar this size. Can you use the drill as a boring bar? And the answer is, yes you can. This is how I'm fastening my batten ends. I have made sleeves like this. I bored them out partway through, and to make sure they stay on, because I haven't got time to wait for glue to dry, I've filed a little groove in there which lines up with that spot there and just slides on there. This is going to get noisy, and I'm just putting a dimple there. Like that. And then I squash the ends. Then they end up looking like this. Oh, you have yet to drill the holes in these. Well, you can see the battens make a difference. The wind's been puffing all day, and just when I needed to try it out, the wind's gone. Definitely the mast needs to be raked forward for the clearance on the deck. The tolerance is down there a little bit tight, and the sheaves that meet the sheaves is probably, I don't know if I can get them closer together. So that's where we're at, guys. It's looking okay up there, but there's no way of telling how well it's going to work unless it's in the water. I'm working on the swivel, but there's more to go with that. I'm working on raking the mast to vertical, but it's a good day. There's been a wind change in direction, so I'm able to test the sail in a different direction. See if there's any hope for it. Wow, it's partly rolled out, and that's what it looks like. Pretty good. Of course it would look a lot better with booms, and the wind swirls all over the place. What's not to like about that? Hasn't even got the bamboo spritz on, or booms. It's rolled out to the point of the square top not quite being unfurled, and it's a decent little sail area. I could quite easily see that being okay for quite a while downwind. I'll just ease those sheets, see what happens. Honestly guys, I'd go sailing with it like that. That would be fine for going downwind. And what I saw when the wind was coming a bit more from the bow, it was forming a good shape. There's a lot to like about what I'm seeing right now. There's a lot that makes me want to just get the boat in the water to trial it, but I still want to get that mast vertical, and that's my mission today. I lowered the mast quite a bit. It's less windage, So there's a couple of things I'm going to modify in there to help with the situation. There's those bolt heads which possibly are not allowing the bearing to go right up close to that bulkhead there. There's that knot with a bow line that's probably not entering the sheave well on the mast end, so I can drill a hole in that plate that goes on the inside of the boat there and put a stopper knot instead of the bow line there. I'm lifting the mast back up again so I can see what's happening with the sheaves at the bottom of the mast when they get close to that hole. I think I'm going to have to open up the hole a bit. There's not a lot of strain on this come along, and that was just some blocks that supported the bottom of the mast under the deck to stop it in position so I could re-tackle it. I can see exactly what's happening, I think. It's probably a fairly easy fix, but the pin that goes through these sheaves I think is hitting the other side of this bulkhead and stopping this, oh no, it's also hitting up the top there, which I expected. So I may ease it down and trim either open up the hole or trim those aluminium plates on the sides of the sheave there. Yes, I can see exactly what's going on there. And it would have been even worse with the nut and washer on there, because that little shaft there is hitting the bulkhead there right now. I'm not sure if that's an easy fix, because I've got to retain that shaft in there somehow after shortening it up. Yeah, there's a possibility there of lowering everything by 10 millimeters if I take out this bottom race with the balls in it. It's not really that necessary. This bearing doesn't get any end load, so that's a really good idea. It's not really necessary, is it? That would allow this to drop down 10 millimeters, but I think I can already see ways to improve it without trimming these sheaves too much on the top here, because it's touching. I've got plenty of extra on them, they're over strong, but it is aluminium and I did cast it myself, so it's not exactly stainless steel. I'll have to make this probably thicker again, because otherwise the sheaves themselves will be contacting. That's how I've secured the pin in the end. It's a little bit unorthodox, but it'll work, and I'll Loctite that screw in there. This pattern's from a masthead fitting. So what I've done in the past when I made up my big patterns is have a pattern on the top and one will go underneath, and then the wire can't cut an angle. It has to follow the pattern. So I make this pattern with printing it out one-to-one on the CAD, and I use sail making double-sided tape to stick the paper to the cardboard, and then I'll use a little bit of double-sided tape to stick the cardboard to the foam. Much better. Thing is not to go too slow, and if your wire does deviate from the track, keep going. You can always come back. It's really good because you can push so much harder against it without it taking too much off the bottom. There it is. Now I'm just going to do the inside, which means I have to drill a hole first. Next I'm just painting on a thin coat of plaster of Paris slurry, so it's almost paint-like but a little bit more watery. It's not supposed to be too thick because you don't want it to stop the gases of the melting polystyrene from escaping. Any joins like here, you should make sure that the plaster of Paris can't really get in there, because that'll come out in the casting and you won't have a proper joint. So I'll give this 24 hours to dry. It would dry a lot faster if it was a hot summer's day. And I have sped the process up and made it all in one day in the past. What I've done is, these are two separate castings I want to do, but I've just joined them together with low temperature hot glue, and then when it's cast, I'll just part it off in the lathe. I think this will be dry by itself tomorrow, and I might be able to do some casting. I'm making up a bit of green sand for the bottom of this hole. I'm going to pack a little bit down the bottom there because you don't want the sand that's sitting on top of this bottom piece to collapse down. So basically this green sand has got zeolite clay in it. So now I'll just gently tamp a little bit in there. It'll stay in there without falling out. So now I just need to very carefully fill it up. People use a special kind of vibrator for this part. While I finish this off, I'm going to start the fire because it takes about an hour, I think it is, for the aluminium to melt down. Land it upside. Whoa, there we go. Here we go. I've got to wait about 15 minutes now. I've got the feeling it was a good one, but it was pretty hard to see what the level was, so you can't let air get in there, you just got to pour flat out. You will have seen, if you've watched my earlier videos on making the mast bearings, that this part isn't always a success, but I've got a good feeling about this one. It seemed to go as it should. Let's find out. Whoa, it's pretty deep in the sand. Crikey, I'm going to have to buy another biscuit tin. Wow, I think it's a good one. I think that's one of my better ones. So guys, even though I've been investigating the junk rig, I'm still working on this rig because what I saw with putting new battens in gave me a little bit of hope for the rig. It still doesn't resolve a couple of issues. The fact that the tabernacle, when the mast rotates up, it's going to hit the deck until I do something about that. And it's a long mast, and it's overall quite a heavy rig to be handling into the long term. Not as young as I used to be, and there will be times where it needs lifting, and I was hoping to lower that mast with the sail on it, but I was doing some rough calculations in my head this morning of the strain that's on that tabernacle. It's huge. I'm going to have to try and raise and lower the sail with the mast direct, I think, and that means I have to have a halyard in there permanently. That's different from the one currently because it's too hard to raise. But anyway, this is a good place to end the video. Next week I'll be machining this up, and I'll be wanting to transition into doing things like the rudder, stock and the tiller, so we can get this boat in the water and sailing and try that rig. And the good thing about that rig is you don't have to fully unroll the sail. It's I liked how it was behaving with a sail that wasn't fully unrolled. So downwind and on the wind I was quite pleasantly surprised with the shape of the sail. So looking forward to doing other jobs than the rigging, but thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.